am the other Nigerian, not the one on page 419 of the history book, but the one on the next chapter where you're yet to take a look. The one for whom impossibility is forbidden, the fractured frame still holding immaculate pictures. The one who knows water can be cruel, and the earth is not always a grave. The one who understands that local hands can build global brands and parallel lines may meet and agree. Yes, the other Nigerian. The one on Obama's playlist, not the one on the FBI's blacklist. The strange multi-instrumentalist carrying death in his pouch. The coolest kid constantly shutting down the O2 Arena. The megastar from Oju Elegba. Boy who won the Grammy. Boy who with one night in space raised this continent of shame and disgrace, making the African giant stand twice a stall. The resilient girl who sings beyond her scar, crooner with an angel's face, cooking the next big sound, helping the human race come to terms with crazy things like what it would be like if Orange was a place. Oh, the other Nigerian, the beautiful writer, weaving new tales beyond a single story, making a case for why we should all be feminists before the scalpel of time has the yellow sun. The second-class citizen, the moonlight bride, helping the new tribe understand the joys of motherhood, star of the new curfew, chief warlock for the age of magic, singing songs of enchantment to usher in a time for new dreams, fisherman turned conductor for an orchestra of minorities. Yes, the other Nigerian. Master dribbler, his rhythm so nice they christened him twice. Maestro midfielder, who stepped the wanderers from the pits of ice. The Olympic gold medalist, the gunner, the Premier League winner, the Champions League trailblazer, amazing kid Eshe, kicking the nation into the Guinness World Record with a freestyle that only a genius can afford. Oh, I am the other Nigerian, a heavyweight champion, a mixed martial artist, the last style bender, a brown-eyed beauty queen from the Niger Delta, a dance queen, leading the longest dance party, the thespian with a velvet voice, the comedian that makes us rejoice, the primetime performer, the stunning Emmy winner, a fearless BAFTA actor in whose eyes the forces awakens, stirring the rise of the resistance. Ladies standing on the front line, defying bullets, demanding that they bring back our girls. The vet's daughter, redefining the purpose of power, the major showbiz player, the producer, managing an array of ambitious storytellers, the chairman, the broadcaster, the visionary, the transformative industry pioneer, an ordinary president, leading a special family to protect the rights of the downtrodden, helping to provide justice for the voiceless, stimulating many to care for the oppressed. Yes, the other Nigerian, the mathematics prodigy, the boy who made the carbon fiber car, lad with wisdom beyond his age, designing for a generation that wears his values on his skin, the tycoon, the economist, the philanthropist, the astute policy shaper, the reformer, advocating for a people's inclusion into the majority, the health manager, building a life bank, efficiently distributing blood to meet the shortage in the nation's organ, the doctor refusing to buckle under pressure, physician putting patient zero into parenting.
Thank you for staying with us up to this point. It's my pleasure to welcome Soonest Nathaniel. Hi, Soonest. He joins us from our studio in Abuja. Hi, Soonest.
Yeah, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. You have a very, very unusual name. And you do a very unusual job, too. Your name is Soonest.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Why did your parents name you Soonest?
So my father is a Seventh-day Adventist, and I mean, we are all Seventh-day Adventists. I mean, and he believes Jesus Christ is coming soon, and so it should have been Jesus Christ is coming soonest, and then he says, hey, soonest is the short form, and that's it.
God, your name is actually Jesus Christ is coming soonest. Okay, so you are a poet and a spoken word artist, and you are the author of Teaching My Father How to Impregnate Women. My God.
First of all, tell us about that one, because I don't understand where that's coming from. Want to teach your father what in particular?
Okay, so the work Teaching My Father How to Impregnate Women comes about, is basically about trying to change what has been known before I started to exist. Some of the stereotypes, some of the negatives, some of those things that need to change. You know, for instance, how are women treated in Nigeria, in Africa, around the world? You know, those little things, those conversations that have gone on for too long that need to change. That was where we started to coin that name, teaching father how to impregnate women, you know, how to do certain things anew, not in the old way in which it has been done all through. So
Well,
that's where that name comes from, or the title comes from.
Brilliant. I need to boast about this. I need to buga a little. When people see on Channels Television's website, channelstv.com, they see a story written by Sones Nathaniel. That is you. Yes or yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's
Yes, sir.
let's
That's
just
it.
put that. I need
That's
to.
me.
I need to show that, you know,
You are ours.
we are, yes, you know, we're in the same
Say it
family.
now.
Yes, we are in the same family, in the Channels family. Help me understand, Sones, how spoken word, what you have done with this beautiful video that we saw just, and we might still see again, how it's different from rap.
Okay, so rap, they say, is rhythm and accentuated poetry. Poetry, on the other hand, is not totally different from rap, or spoken word in the sense is not totally different from rap. However, it is about the aesthetics of poetry. It's about how we come about poetry. Most times rap want to do, what rappers want to do often is to use punchlines, you know, to send their messages across. However, in poetry, it's not punchlines. It is metaphors, you know, and other figures of speech that we use to convey those words, to convey the messages that we want to convey, you know. So while the rapper is heading for the entertainment value of things, the poet is going for something a little deeper. I think that's the little way I can explain that right now. The poet is going for something a bit deeper than what the rapper is going for. You know, why the rapper is going usually mostly for, you know, clouds and the kind of things they want to talk about or rap about is usually a little bit different from the way the poet goes about it.
Well, we'll need an international symposium for me to understand better what you've just said. Because from what you just said now, rap and spoken word are poetry. As I said, we need a symposium on that. But tell us your journey into this genre of the arts, poetry and spoken word arts. Tell us about your journey into it, how you got into it, how far so far, the reception of it.
Yeah, it's been a very beautiful journey so far. And it started off when I was way younger. I like to tell the story because it gets funny. As at the time when I was in the primary school, you know, somewhere about primary 6, I had this phobia for talking to the ladies. But I realized that when I write and when I put words together, everybody is in love with this guy. So what I did was, rather than go to them and speak to them, I'd write a note. Beautiful coin, you know, you coin it beautifully, that they look at the words, they look at the way you put things and juxtapose words together, and they're like, wow, this is beautiful, this is brilliant. You know, so from then on, I started to realize that, hey, there might be something here. You know, there might be something I'm really doing right. And then I started to read. My father is somebody who loves books, so he started to introduce me to different works. And then I started to realize that we had some very great guys who do what is called poetry. I was just introduced to poetry by chance, per se. You know, of course, we had the rhymes in the primary section in the primary school, but, you know, the Queen Rhymer wasn't necessarily African poetry. You know, so then I started discovering people like Christopher Okigbo. You know, I looked at people like that. You discover Chinua Achebe. You go to Wole Soyinka. You go to Esiaba Irobi. And then you realize that what you're doing is not so far off from what they are doing. You know, and then that was how I started to build the work. I have not had any formal training as a poet or a spoken word artist, except when I started growing a little older and I started applying for workshops, you know, and every other thing where I can get extra knowledge. But I started from the books. You know, you read these guys, you see what they do with the words, and then you start to practice on your own. You start to pair share. You share with your peers and look at them, let them look at the work, you know, let them see, can they find value in what you have written? And oftentimes, a lot of people come back like, wow, this is beautiful. So I knew, you know, from the onset, from a very early age, that there was something about what I was writing and I continued to build it. I made sure I continued to, hone my craft. That's what they say, you hone the craft. I mean, we started off with rhyme poetry, and we've gone to free verse, we've gone to do haikus, we've gone to do so many other forms of poetry, and that's how the journey has been so far. As per reception, earlier on, the African scene had not been very warm when it comes to poetry as regards on a general scale the way it is today. Today it's massive. Spoken word is massive everywhere in Africa. But the West were those who really first accepted what I was writing. So I started to make submissions online to different literary magazines, and then you see them come back with beautiful feedback. In fact, they started to even give a token for each poem you wrote. And I'm like, wow, I can make a token from poetry, I never knew that could happen. So when that started happening off and on, I realized that, okay, I had started arriving to something very solid. And that's how it's been for many years now. That's how it's been.
You said spoken word is big in Africa. Can a spoken word artist make a living from that job?
Yes, there are so many spoken word artists who are making a living from the art, from the craft. That's what they do. That's the only thing they do. There are a couple of them, many of them. I don't want to go into names, but it has to be planned, because you need to have built a fan base, you need to have built a following, you need to have built yourself into some kind of an authority in this art, such that people can pay to want to see you, so that people can pay to listen to you. They can come to your events. That has to be built. It's not something you just jump into headlong. You need to build. Sometimes you have to go to different shows and not even get paid for the shows which you're partaking in. That's part of the process. You learn from all that. And then eventually, when people see value in what you are delivering, trust me, they begin to rally around you. And from there, if you really build that community of people around you, you can actually earn a living from the craft.
Soonest, one of the things that crosses my mind from what you just said now is, what market would you be speaking with? You said the other time that rap is about punchlines, about the commercial value of it. And most young people today, look, the world is stressed enough. Can I just have some fun? Listen to music, listen to rap, listen to comedy, you understand what I'm saying? So what catchment of whatever the society is, does spoken word art appeal to mostly?
So spoken word cuts across every generation. And in fact, that's why you see that, I love page poetry. But I realized that if you need to get to the people must see it in a light that they can appreciate it very easily. And that's why you see that piece. That piece is part of my latest collection, which is titled Bearing the Ghosts of Dead Narratives. It's part of Bearing the Ghosts of Dead Narratives, which it's a work I did in collaboration with the British Council. And it's a very teamed work in the sense that we are trying to change the stereotypical views about Africa, and Nigeria, and, to foster beautiful relationships between Africa and the United Kingdom. So how do we do this? We know that people wouldn't want to read something too bulky. People want to read that research. The research was about how many pages? Over close to 200 pages. That's what the whole research that brought about this book was. How many young people want to read that? So what did we do? We looked for the best way to package the theme, best way to package the message. It is about the packaging. So spoken word can go anywhere. Everybody can appreciate what they have just watched. So that's the way it can go through anybody who understands, the language, can appreciate the way in which it was presented. So it's majorly about presentation. It's not like it has to be an elitist thing. It's not like it has to be somebody who has gone to the university. People can find themselves in the work which was just shown. I am the other Nigerian. It's clear. They can understand. It's something about pride, national pride. It's something about saying, hey, we are beyond all the negatives. We are beyond famine and hunger and poverty and wars. There's vibrance here, yes? There's
Absolutely.
Development, there's innovation. We're people who are resilient. That's what the poem is about. So rather than go to put it in a very, what will I call it now, very hard way, life is too hard. right? You just bring it into something very simple that they can appreciate. So if you really cook the work well, I like to use the word cook. If you really cook the work well, a lot of people will be ready to eat it. Trust me.
Well, it depends on what energy you're using to do the cooking. But there's something also interesting here that, there are many people. You said spoken word is huge, and I think I met one or two people like as well. But you, I would say your situation is rather peculiar because, for one, you are a content creator with Channels Television, and you're still allowed to do your thing. Now, I don't know how many employers will encourage that, yet there are so many of them. As you said, is huge. The ones that you know are huge. How about the ones that are just latent in employment and are unable to do other things? So in that space, what would be your counsel to those people who want to explore and exploit that aspect of their lives, but are locked up in one employment or the other now? And as you said, they have to grow their client base before they can make it commercially viable for themselves.
The truth is, I want to really thank Channels TV for opening giving that room, leaving that room open for me to be able to still follow what I'm extra passionate about, even while I do the job which I'm supposed to do. It's like you said, it's a very special thing. But there are others who might not have this. The point is, you must be sure that what you're doing is not in conflict with where you are, where you are employed. That's for those who are employed and cannot do it just because of, those little clauses here and there. You must be sure first, if they would not allow you to blossom, in all honesty, if they would not allow you to blossom, and you are very, very passionate about this, you might begin to start thinking of how to move. And that is the truth, because poetry is I used to call her a very jealous lady sometimes. Sometimes she doesn't want to share with any other person. She wants your time all through. In fact, at this point, I need to thank my wife, Sueba Nathaniel, who would always say, hey, just leave him. The madman is in his zone right now. And because that's how crazy it gets. You have all the books around me. You want to start your reading, your researching. So you don't even want to listen to any other person. These things happen. So you must look for the environment that, helps you to build the craft. If it doesn't really help you to build what you are most passionate about, you might start thinking about how to move. You have to start thinking about it, except that it's not what your real passion is, because there's actually work, that we are meant to do, and there's a job. I like to say the talent is the work. It is what God, because I'm a Christian, so I like to say it is what God has said, hey, this is where the people might get to know you. That's where the talent comes in, work. And then the job is what you do. That's where you build yourself. That's where you earn a living. That's where from there you can use the job. You can use the job as a good way to learn some of the things you need for your work.
Absolutely.
And that's basically what Channels has even done for me. Because some of the things that feed the things I write are the stories you see me come up with on Channels TV. It is from that space that I'm able to build something powerful in my poetry. So you need to be looking at things like that. For those who are still just starting off, you must keep at it. You must keep at it. Okay. Trust me, where I am today is not where I was, say, even 2 years ago.
Well, one can understand.
Continue. There are going to be ups and downs.
One can understand,
Soonest, it's a natural thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
one can understand your wife's partnership with you on this. After all, it's the same poetry that got her, right? So I'm going to leave it at that. We just have to let it go at this time.
And you were the Poet Laureate for 2014 Korea Nigeria Poetry Festival. So you've been going places. Thank you very much for coming to close our program today. Jesus is coming soonest, Nathaniel. Which has been shortened to Soonest Nathaniel. Thank you very much for being our guest on Sunrise this morning.
Thank you very much. I've had a very wonderful time with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So that is our package for today. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you will join us again next Saturday for a fresh edition. I'm Alero Edu, wishing you a happy weekend, and be with you next week.
Next week is soonest. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye for now.
Bye.